Pet Sematary 2019 is directed by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Wildmeyer, and is the second adaptation of the popular book Pet Sematary by Stephen King.
And it's the third with Pet Sematary name.
Yeah.
If you count the sequel to the first movie back in the '89, but it was in the '90s that took place.
And it's basically the first adaptation came out in 1989, and there was also a sequel, which was in '91 or '92. I'm sorry, and in this film we deal with the Creed family, Louis Creed and his family, who moved to where was it again?
They moved, instead of the other one where they moved from somewhere Chicago to Maine. This one they moved Boston to Maine.
Oh, okay.
In a town called Lug something, I can't remember, because they didn't really go into detail the town's name in the '89 version, but this one they did.
Yeah, and then this one they just, much like the original film and the book that it's based off of, the Creed family move in there and they meet Judd, who's this time played by John Lithgow, and they discover that there's a cemetery that's in the woods, like in the middle of the woods, that deals with burying pets when they're gone, when they're passed away. And if you kind of seen the trailers, you kind of get the feeling that something bad's going to happen, because there's an event that goes down there's an event that goes down that causes them to use this cemetery, and there's some stuff that comes back from the dead.
At this point now, it's almost like it's not spoilers. For one, the damn trailers gave a little too much away, and for two, if you guys have pretty much everybody has seen probably the '89 version. Almost everybody has. They've told me they have. I've never seen somebody that hasn't.
Yeah.
And if you've read the book, if you're a big Stephen King fan, you probably know the whole story that something happens to a kid. And so Louis Creed basically takes the person there, and some shit happens.
Yeah, and then chaos ensues.
Yeah.
Now here's some backstory. Now, as we said, this is sort of a remake, but it's a second adaptation of the original book by Stephen King.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, like, even to this day, the original 1989 version holds as one of my favorite all-time Stephen King films.
And personally, there's some, people back in have said, if you guys are familiar with Jack Nicholson when he was in The Shining, everybody loved that one a little bit more than Stephen King's book and his remake. And that's how this one was, where everybody was kind of really enjoyed the shit out of the movie, because I guess it has a lot to do with something about the 80s, the way they were able to make movies, and they just can't capture today. And the story and everything, it was actually pretty fucking creepy.
And what's interesting is Stephen King himself actually wrote the scrapplay for the original film. But he kind of changed some things like here and there. But the main core of the film follows the book.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people do. Certain people do still complain about the '89 version, how it left a lot out from the book.
Yeah.
And Stephen King has said that he felt like he went with the wrong approach. I really personally don't think so. I think the '89 one is a pretty solid fucking movie.
Absolutely,
and it's pretty
emotional too.
It's emotional. It's creepy as fuck, man.
Yeah, and I got a chance to watch the sequel a couple years ago, and I gotta admit, after what he was telling me, I gotta admit that was definitely an underrated fucking sequel. Not as good as the first.
Not as good as the first, but I will say the sequel is highly underrated, and I'm glad more people are saying that. I had a fucking blast because it was a nice change of tone.
Yeah.
And not trying to be like the first movie.
Yeah. So. And so with this one coming out, it got me a little interested, because since we've been on a Stephen King craze with them doing readaptations of the books, like with It a couple years ago,
which was phenomenal.
I was a little skeptical, like, when I first heard they were going to remake it, because, like, well, the original film, I still, really stands on its ground.
If you think about it, it really works as needed to be remade, because it was a TV show, and that didn't do it fucking, it was a miniseries, and it didn't do it justice at all. So it was nice to see them able to go, all right, we're going to make this theoretical, so you can have gore, you can make it more scarier.
And add more elements from the book.
Because if you guys know, the It book really goes into shit they can't put on TV or miniseries or anything. It has to be in a movie. And that's why I loved how they did with the remake of It. So upon seeing the trailers to this film, I will say that I was interested, but I was getting a lot of I was kind of worried, and that mainly comes from the second trailer. This is where they were spoiling the shit out of this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going in this one and seeing the change up they did with one kid to another kid?
Yeah.
In this one, did you see that?
Yeah, it was just.
But they gave us it in the fucking
way,
trailer.
you know, because the way the movie plays out, it makes it feels like it's going for that approach, but they actually show that specifically in the trailer.
Yeah,
I felt that was a bad marketing move.
It was a bad marketing move because that could have at least added some change up.
Yeah,
you're like, huh? That would have threw everybody off because they were expecting so and so.
Yeah.
Another one, the other kid,
yeah,
get it, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But that kind of killed it because they kept fucking showing it. Then they did a third trailer. They showed even fucking more.
Yeah. So going into this, I was a little skeptical based on the fact that we saw too much, and upon seeing the film, while the movie wasn't great, I will say that I like it, but it definitely is very flawed.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little different with him. I was highly, highly disappointed in this movie. So with that being said, I'm going into my pros. I will say that for what it's worth, the cast was good.
Yeah, Jason Clarke, I think he really carries this movie a lot, and I especially like
Lois,
and the girl who plays Rachel, I thought was really great, especially how like we get into some stuff that I don't think they covered in the original film, because she has a backstory that goes on with her sister that they take a lot of like more emphasis on, like they did I believe that they did in the original film too.
The original they did it better on the mother. There's more deeper tone with her and the Zelda thing in the original, way better than which a lot of people criticize in this one, which I gotta
which I agree.
I'll get in my cons.
Yeah, okay.
On that.
I agree with you.
For this one, I will say that the Ellie girl stands out probably the most.
Yeah, she was absolutely fantastic, and she was.
Yeah, and you guys remember she was the girl in the original '89 version, which. She didn't have much screen time.
Yeah, because
she actually came off as pointless in the movie.
Yeah, because after that, it was really just focusing on Gage.
Yeah, and Gage.
And what's funny is they got a kid in this that kind of looks like the little kid from the little version of Gage in the original.
So basically, it's a swap
in
this movie because Gage hardly has time in this movie, and it's the girl.
Yeah, and it was also John Lithgow was also great as Judd.
Now he wasn't Fred Gwynn. Fred Gwynn. He's not Fred Gwynn. That guy was good.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
Yeah, outstanding. I think he's a little bit better than John Lithgow, but John Lithgow would have been still my number one choice to recast.
Yeah.
And playing his role.
Yeah, so there was that. And then the going with the story, there were some elements that I liked that they kind of add a little bit to the film.
I will say that one of my pros, the only thing I think they did better in '89 was, and I'll get into my cons on the short-lived, was the Indian burial ground with the whole fog and the swamp in the atmosphere of the woods is a lot better in this one.
Yeah, and the cinematography helps with that too, because I love the foggy sequences with the woods. It adds a lot of great atmosphere.
Yeah, I think they did a lot better in this one on the visual standpoint of that, instead of just the regular ground where it was all opened and had the rock and all that stuff.
But I will say that in regards to the story, there were little things here and there that I believe that they changed from the book that I thought was, or that they may have taken liberty from, that I kind of liked that they did. Like, we're not going to spoil anything, but there's something that goes on where when the dead come back to life, they have a certain technique that they can do that I thought kind of worked, actually.
Yeah, it was something that '89 didn't do, where they could kind of transform into certain thing. That one did it in this one, which I thought was kind of different, and I'm glad they did. They did that. Other than that, that's pretty much all my pros.
Well, I also got to admit the score by Christopher Young was also good. It really, especially like the music that the musical score they use is very haunting, and the one of the scenes that actually holds out the most is when the certain death that happens, there's like no dialogue, it's just music playing. I thought that was really, captures it very emotionally.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'll say is that there's something that they kind of take that I thought the movie was kind of going into, where you kind of get the idea that supposedly Lewis is kind of almost losing his mind, like he's basically having like some type of cabin fever sort of thing, where I thought that's where they were going to go for.
Yeah,
I thought that's where the movie was leading to.
Well, 89 kind of covered a little bit of that a lot better on the cabin.
Where he's losing
thing.
his mind, basically.
Yeah. I thought the Lois Creed in that one showed more like he was losing his marbles than Jason Clarke did in this one. So with that being said, I'm going to go inside my cons because there's quite a few of them because, like I said, I'm really disappointed in the way this movie turned out. I will say that the one thing that pissed me off, and there are some changes here, this is probably my max. This is probably the one thing that fucking infuriated me throughout this film, is we were told that there was so much that 89 didn't do that was in the book that people wanted to see so much in the new one, like they were going to do, like they did with it. And this movie was practically a fucking verbatim, for the most part, from the fucking movie.
Yeah.
From the 89.
Yeah, they basically pulled, I will agree with that, they did pull what they did with the remake of Carrie from 2013.
Yeah.
They took basically, they took some things from the book that they wanted to add, and while at the same time, toward the last act of the film, it really just becomes verbatim.
Well, it's not that. I have a lot of problems with the first half of the movie, because the first half of the movie is basically the same fucking format the fucking other one was, the 89 was.
Yeah.
And personally, I thought it was done even worse, because you get, alright, if you guys remember in the original, in the 89, they had the Victor guy. The blonde-haired white guy who was hit by the car, and the guy has a lot more screen time than this one guy.
Yeah,
has.
this one guy,
he's pointless in this fucking movie.
Yeah, they just brought him in because he was from the book.
He was from the books, but they don't give him anything really to work with, while that Victor guy has a lot of dialogue with fucking Lewis Creed.
Yeah,
not to mention, while the gore is kind of cool looking on the guy's face in this one, I thought it was way better, and it was way better done in the fucking the 89 version. Not to mention, they had that really, remember that part where he's in the clouds and shit? That was pretty fucking creepy.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, I remember.
And this one, it's like, where's that at? Where's this character at? Just like Zelda. Fucking not hardly a point in this fucking movie.
I know.
And the Zelda thing, storyline, blends, and the editing is blended well with the story in the 89, because they were able to have some traumatic thing that happens to where the wife breaks down and talks about that scene. And the Zelda in that one was fucking creepy as shit.
She was,
and she still is an iconic character that scares a lot of people.
It does, yeah. Even this day, after watching it recently, like a few years ago, I still get fucking creeped out by that woman.
Yeah, this one
they really hardly even focus on her.
They don't focus. Yeah.
And even still at stage,
I mean, you might say that her body and all that, but they did that in 89, and I thought 89 captured it a lot better in this, and that one than this one. The editing and some scenes, just the way they edit the Zelda thing is where the editing problems are in this film.
Yeah,
and it just there's a scene where like they're doing something and they're talking to Judd, and then suddenly there's like the scene that just goes to the next scene, and he's talking to his wife, and then they just had to get the Zelda thing. What my issue is the director was just throwing shit in here because it was in 89, it was in the book. We got to find somewhere in this area to put it at. And another problem I have is in the 89, you get the sense of them getting to know Judd very well. And you get the bonding with Judd and the family. This one, it just seems like it's just cut all out. And it's like, oh, he already knows him.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I will say that they did elaborate with Judd in this one was that there was something that they add with this where they say that there's, and it's just, I thought it was a nice little thing that they added. It was something where he's telling the story about this thing called Wendigo, which is basically about how the dead can come back to life and stuff.
Yeah.
And for later on, we see there's other reports of basically other things happening with it.
I will give him that, because 89 does not tell us any backstory about that place. Now, we'll say that in this one, which they did, this pissed me off, Judd does not have hardly any, like, dialogue where he could describe. Like, you guys remember in 89, there's a lot of scenes where Judd went through some fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like his brother, they did it to his brother, they threw his brother in there, remember? And he came back and started killing his family.
Yep.
And they show all that, and then it shows about his evil dead dog, and this one they just tell it. They just tell the tale of the dog.
Yeah.
But this one, in the 89, they show it.
Yeah, they do.
So it's like a lot of shit about Judd is cut out.
Yeah.
So it's just like, just the scenes where he talks to Lois or the family. It's like, it's very 2019, and it's a problem with a lot of remakes today. It's just they cut out all what 80s and 70s and 90s were able to do, where they were able to add more and more development. It's just like today's remakes, they throw, I don't know what they're missing.
That's the other thing too.
It's kind of hard to describe.
Going back to some of the way that the movie kind of goes along.
Yeah.
We do have kind of a couple of rinse and repeat scenes with Zelda, which are just really the same scenes where you have the wife just going into this cabinet area, and it just shows the same scene where that's when, not to spoil anything, but shows that in the flashback. Yeah,
that's what and the way that they add the flashbacks, it just comes random. Because they know they had to put it somewhere in the movie. Versus 89, there's some shit that's going on, and a lot of dread, and the mother is losing it, and she talks about the Zelda thing.
Yeah.
And that works a lot better in 89. And this one is just throwing at you. It's like, oh, we had to get that real quick.
Yeah, I agree that there's a lot of things that I preferred over in the original 89 version, but there are a couple things that I'm glad that they took some more liberties on. Now, this is going to be controversial, but can I kind of go back to my pros real quick? I liked the fact that the ending that they went with was ambiguous, in a way. Now, in the original film, it's pretty much established what happens toward the end, but in this one, they do change the ending from the book and the original film, which to an extent I actually thought was a good change.
I don't know.
But at the same time, I can see why it kind of doesn't take the impact from the book.
Personally, it's in a way it's the same but done differently, because in 89 it's more ambiguous, because in 89 how the wife and engaged, the daughter was thrown out. That's what they fucked up with in 89, was they cut her out completely.
Yeah.
And they never go back, and you don't know what the fuck happened to her. But if you guys seen 89, you know what happens in the end. And you even hear Lois in the background when it cuts off, and I thought that was a good cutoff. I think 89's ending is better than this one, because this one comes off as I know it was going to happen, because that's part of the book, and part of the 89 did it too, so it was going to happen. It's just done so rushed. That's the problem I'm having with this film. I felt like everything was rushed.
Yeah, they were kind of glossing over stuff that they kind of went with, and they didn't elaborate much on with they set up certain elements. Especially, one complaint I will also say was that they set up this plot point, these kind of kids that are going through this forest,
and they're wearing these masks,
and I thought that was going to lead to something big, like maybe later on,
like a more ritual thing, which it kind of is. But they abruptly abandoned that.
They don't even come back, and I thought they were going to do something with that.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys don't know, I'm wearing the original shirt, Pet Sematary, with Church. Oh, let me get back to this one. Church does have more screen time. I'm going to be, and I don't know if this is a minority or a majority. I personally thought it was cool to see him more in this one, with the how he's more meaner in this one, but I thought he was creepier in 89 personally.
Yeah, but I'm kind of on both, because I like both in their own way.
You got to think, in 89 they were able to do this, the atmosphere more dark and just more 80s.
Yeah,
and they kept Church all gray, and you could always see him glow in his eyes.
Yeah,
it come off as kind of nerve-wracking. This one, they show way more of the meaner side of him, which they didn't go with much in '89. But I thought he did. Because this movie's so daytimed. That's another issue. It's just so daytime. They waste a lot of potential with the woods and the dark and all that, because a lot of this movie takes place in the day. And you see Church. I don't think he comes off as scary in this one. I personally don't. Like I said, the only thing I thought they did better on this one with Church was he was more meaner.
Yeah, I got you.
And there was and then you see him follow with the family when something happens at the end. Like if they're one family at the end. That's probably one cool thing that I'll give. They didn't really do in '89, but like I said, this movie I personally was highly fucking disappointed with it. People said, oh man, we're going to get this, we're going to get more for the book. How can you say that when it literally looks like I watched '89, but a Sam's Choice version? Not saying calling it really a Sam's Choice like that, like I'm not saying like the cast was horrible or anything, but I do feel like they were, aside from Ellie, and that's only fair enough because the '89 girl didn't get to play hardly in the movie, I personally think while the people in here are doable and good, I feel like everybody from '89 was better. Like, I like Jason Clarke, but I think the guy in '89 was better.
Yeah, I got you.
The mother, I thought the mother in '89 was better. I love John Lithgow. He was a perfect choice, played Judd. Fred was better. It's just everything was better in '89. And I'm sorry, it's my personal.
And I don't disagree. I agree that I love the original '89 way better than this one.
Yeah.
But with that being said, with the movie, I still admit that I don't regret seeing it. Is what I'm saying.
I wanted to see this film, but I just felt like blah. It's like just like almost watching those straightforward remakes in a way.
Yeah,
for me. So
with that being said, with some of the things that I liked, well, with the things that I did like with the movie that kind of outweighed it, I'm gonna give the movie just an average Joe on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a disaster rating on the Film Freaks meter. I was quite more pissed off when I walked out. I felt like this is what they were really building for. It looks like they fucking shot this all in a week, to be honest with you, because it feels so goddamn rushed. And really, another thing is, while there are some cool gory scenes and some blood, there's not enough. It feels still like, okay, we're gonna give you 2 gore scenes in exchange for nothing else is gonna be bloody. Which, another thing I fucking forgot to break up.
What?
It's kind of more spoiler territory.
Yeah,
actually, it's not. It's actually not, because you saw it in the trailers. That was a bad CGI with that fucking gas tank.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, not to mention that motherfucker would have exploded in real life because that was a gas tank. And the fact that it looks so placed there instead of looks like it tore into that area. It looks like it was just fucking placed there. And I thought the girl would have been more fucked up looking.
Yeah.
Imagine a 10,000-ton fucking drum falling on you. You think you're gonna look that clean?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This movie is it exchanges from the gore shit to it gives you that 1 or 2 scenes, and it just gives you nothing bloodless shit.
Yeah,
which pissed me off. But like I said, it's disaster rating. This is far better, the '89 version. Even I personally think Pet Sematary 2 was better than this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. So for those of you who have also seen the new Pet Sematary, and also the original, and also the book, and even Pet Sematary 2, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel, and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.